What's going on, Chris?
Doing well, Biggsy. How are you?
All good, brother. A couple questions for you. One, I don't believe we've been able to chat with you since you had your three specialists re-signed. If you can just talk about, those guys in particular, Cairo, and the significance of having him back, and then maybe when you knock that out, I got a follow up for you.
Okay. No, it's really big for us. I'm glad we got those three guys signed. This will be our first time of back to back all the specialists coming back. And we've gotten a lot of good continuity with Scales and Pat O'Donnell, just long snap and short snap, and then being able to bring Cairo right back in the mix and everyone kind of knowing what everyone likes. That's a big plus for us. So hopefully we can continue our development to where it needs to go.
With the rules limiting tryout players for this weekend, will you be snapping, kicking, and punting? Or are you going to use a machine to kick and punt? We'd kind of like to see your leg.
It's an impressive leg, Bigsy. But the jugs
No,
is
but
always
seriously,
the jugs is no. I mean, the one thing you always got to remember about specialists is the jugs is always willing to work, and it's consistent. And I will always play that player.
How about Chris?
Morning, Chris. Good to see you.
You too.
I'm sure it's hard to see a guy like Cordarrelle move on. And I'm curious, there's so much focus on his return ability that people don't tend to remember that he was also first team All Pro as your coverage guy 2 years ago. Which guys do you have targeted for those gunner roles?
Not to dodge this your question, Hub, but because it's a legit question, good question. And to be honest with you, I mean those spots are wide open. So we're just going to have a lot of guys compete. They need to understand the people that we're replacing there, and the standard that is set. Just because you're replacing those people, the standard doesn't change. So we got a lot of work to work in that area, and this is the time to develop that.
Are there any of the guys that have stood out in the past though that maybe you think could be special there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we used Bush on the outside at the gunner spot. A kid that was up and played real well for us towards the end was the Crawford kid, and he did a nice job. A kid that was on our practice squad the whole time, and then got elevated and played real well. He had some gunner reps and played well on the outside on punt return and even on kickoff, and really showed up. So that's very encouraging. And then we just got to continue to develop guys there, and that's those spots.
Thanks, Chris.
Dane Weeder.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
What does your candidate list look like for the kick return job at this point?
I think we have some guys. I think that it'll be, once again, I know it's the same coach speak, but just we got to develop and find out. First of all, we still want to be the team that we've become, but obviously the trigger guy back there plays an important role in that. So we have to get those guys up to speed, and then obviously find out what their best abilities are, and tailor made it to their talents.
Who are some of those guys? And also with obviously rookie camp coming up, what does Herbert bring as a return guy through your eyes?
Herbert's he was a solid returner. The Newsom kid can do it also if you're talking about young kids. We got some guys on our roster also that we've been working. At the end of the day, I think it'll, practice will always be one thing, but when you get in those preseason games, and when, like a kick return essentially is, it's a car. It sometimes looks like a car accident. There's just a small crease, and who's willing to go through that small crease and speed through there? Those are the things that we have to find out. Obviously, ball security and all those things, but guys that can break tackles and play fearlessly. Those are things that we'll be looking for.
Adam Hogue.
Chris, what do you preach to? I mean, when you have turnover from guys like Sherrick and Cordarrelle, who have basically ended up devoting their careers to embracing special teams. Now you got, young guys? I mean, I know that turnover is kind of natural and happens a lot in the league, but I mean, as a coach, what are you preaching to younger guys who maybe have aspirations to still be on offense, defense, whatever it is, as you're replacing those types of veterans?
Well, I think that, you try to use those veterans. Those guys have been playing in the league a long time. I always use also a guy like Matthew Slater up in New England, who's played on special teams forever and is one of the best special teams players in the league. And there's also, I think I think that what you have to establish is the Chicago Bears are supposed to play good special teams. Hands down. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're in charge of doing. And we keep instilling that belief in them. But when you have to replace guys like that, they've set a standard, and just because they're not here, I mean, we need to live up to that standard. So we need to get that done. And, we got a lot of work to do there.
Mark Grody.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
I know Tariq Cohen is recovering from a lot physically and emotionally for that matter, but is the plan, the hope to have him returning punts this year?
Well, first and foremost, my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. And but with regards to him returning, I be honest with you, there's a lot more other important things that he's dealing with, and we want him to have a good, speedy recovery. And if he's a great returner, and so if he's available, absolutely, no question. But those thoughts. To be honest, I'm not dodging the question. The answer is yes, but I'm thinking about a lot of other things than that with him.
I got you.
Steve Leventhal.
Yeah, Chris, you alluded to the two rookies who've had kick returning experience in college. For them to be able to do that at the pro level, what kind of step up do they have to take in terms of skill set and other intangibles?
Well, I mean, a lot of things, to be honest with you, Steve. I mean, it's we're going to talk about the characteristics of what makes a great kick returner, and fortunately, being around some, Devin and Cribbs and Cordarrelle. I mean, the makeup, to be able to explain to him what makes those guys so special, but at the same time, you want the player to be himself. And when we get them out here and start to be able to see their skill set and where we need to go with it, maybe we need to tweak some of our returns based on their skill sets to make them successful. There's a lot of things there, but that's something that we just have to work through.
Thanks.
I wish it was an easy answer. I really do, and it's not.
Dan Weeder.
Chris, two veteran newcomers that I wanted to ask you about. What's your book on Christian Jones, who's obviously played here before, and then also with Atachu, if I'm pronouncing that right? How does he compare to Mingo?
Compare him to Mingo, they're two different players. And then Jonesy, he's a guy. He left the year that I got here, but obviously I've played against him when he was in there in Detroit and have a lot of respect for him. And I've heard nothing but great things about him. But I can say this: when we would play Detroit and he was on the punt team and he was covering down, it's a big man that could run, and so he has I'm excited about getting him. That's looking forward to it.
What's in Atachu's special teams toolbox?
He's a big physical guy that plays downhill. Is a little bit more, I'd say, more of a space eater as opposed to Mingo, who is a little bit more gazelle-like. So that's the difference when you ask me that question there.
Did I pronounce his name right?
I believe that you did. You did better than probably what I would do.
Good.
Anything else for Coach Tabor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.